Hey guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Danmachi x Tensura fanfic by Crimson9943 Chapter 4. Rimuru Pav. The conversation I was having with Bel and Seer was very informative. They explained the system of familia where gods give them familia which allow them to get strong, and in return the gods will depend on them to help them survive in the lower realm. I glanced at Veldora, who was reading manga. Seriously, this guy should be more careful about using storage magic and reading in the open like it's only natural. We're in another world, you idiot. I could see Bel and Seer throwing curious glances at the manga, but it doesn't look like they saw where he got it from. I unconsciously let out a sigh. It would be troublesome if these two get hooked on manga. So, I think I'll just divert their attention to me for now. So there is something I'd really like to ask. How does this falna work? Seer and Bel looked at each other. Seer then turned back to me. Falna is God's blessing which are given to the chosen children. You could think of it as a mirror. A mirror? She gently smiled at me. Yes, as I said earlier, falna is the grace given by gods and goddesses to their familia members. Adventurers and supporters can gather excellia to raise their status and grow stronger. The gods gave the falna to adventurers to bring forth heroes. It reflects on the soul of an adventurer and brings out their potential. Sometimes even the deep wishes that are etched onto their very souls could have an influence on falna that lead to the creation of skills. It reflects the growth of soul just like a mirror would. I nodded at her. The analogy makes sense. This system seemed to be complicated. Well, if not for this falna thing, this skill system is probably similar to ours. Sensei, are you there? Suddenly, I receive a thought communication from Chloe. What is it, Chloe? I think we may have a problem, Sensei. It seems Milam is being lured by someone. I frowned. Milam has the ability to see through anything, so it shouldn't be that easy to fool her. But when I recall memories from when I first met her, I start to have a bad feeling about it. Excusing myself and putting my mask back on, I walked outside tavern. Where are you? I am currently tailing them. They appear to have entered an old building that looks like an old church. Should I take action? No, we need to be careful about how we go about things in this world. Please just wait and I will come to you. Understood. I could tell she was a bit hesitant. Thinking about it now, I heard that in past timelines, Chloe was a great friend of Milam. She probably cares for Milam. After cutting off the thought communication, I noticed there were people walking around. So I moved to side street behind the tavern so I won't have an audience. If it is Milam, I only need to worry about the inevitable collateral damage and the health condition of the other party. But Chloe is there, so it should be fine for now. As I increased my thought process. Seal, I need a map of Orario. Can you do it? Leave it to me. The most suitable action is to create a radar. That was fast. But it was not a surprise to me. Seal can do billions of calculations all at once in matter of seconds. What surprised me was the term radar. Is she serious? Yes. And how exactly will this work? This place is not a modern world. Does this place have that kind of technology? We do not require anything. The mechanism of a radar is quite simple. It sends out electromagnetic waves similar to wireless computer networks and mobile phones. The signals are sent out as short pulses which may be reflected by objects in their path, in part reflecting back to the radar. When these pulses intercept precipitation, part of the energy is scattered back to the radar. Seriously, I really appreciate the science stuff and all that. Not that I could fact check it anyway. But can you put it simply so I can understand it? We can replace the electronic magnetic waves with Demon Lord Haki aura. If we cover the city and use mental map navigation to coordinate the data provided by it, we can get a map even more accurate than of which provided by Earth's modern technology. In other words, master is a walking and talking radar. First of all, that was rude. And second, won't spreading Haki cause problems for people? I can manage it effectively. All they will feel is a breeze. Ooh, that is very useful skill. Why didn't I have it earlier? Because you never asked me earlier. Seriously, I cannot always take action for you. Please grow up and take responsibility. You are a demon lord. Ouch, I regret asking that. She is really not in a good mood. If she's going to lecture me, I really don't want to hear it now. I can't even use the excuse that we don't have time. If I did that, she would literally stop time to lecture me. But thankfully I know the correct procedures to follow in moments like these. Is that so? I knew I could always rely on you no matter what. I never thought that you would be so troubled by that, and it is my mistake that I was relying on you too much. I made my tone sound very saddened. This is a hidden technique I developed. I call it the Great Puppy Eyes Technique. Put the mind of a 40-year-old otaku and a cute body together and you get this miracle skill. One of my masterpieces. Yush. It's working. I've escaped countless time from Shuna using this skill. I just need to make a gloomy face and make my tone a little sad, and the charm of Shizu will do the rest. Using her face like this makes me feel a little guilty, but I am sure she will understand the urgency for it. Master. I think it worked. Of course, this advanced technique will work on even the most refined Testarossa. Master. You know that I can always hear you brag about your hidden technique in your thoughts, right? Alright, anyways, you should stop looking into my mind and try to starting with the radar thing. Yes, master. I am embarrassed beyond words, Satoru, you dumbass. I could almost hear her smirk in my head. She must be having fun seeing me in anguish. You are imagining it. Yep. She won't admit it. I switch off the thought processing. Please remove the mask as it is interfering with the Demon Lord Haki. I did as I was told and closed my eyes, taking a deep breath, clearing my mind. Well, it's not like I need any of that because Seal doing all that for me, but acting cool is not a bad thing, right? I could feel my Haki seeping from my body, some of my hair floated gently. I could see the map start to form in my head. The buildings, the people, I could see all of them, and in a matter of seconds I could feel what my aura touched all around. Now all I need is to search for Chloe and Milam. Chloe and Milam's signature found a few hundred meters to the south. Along with another detected near them is a signature of a god. Good job, Seal. I opened my eyes and realized that I had an audience. There stood 3 children who were gaping at me. One was a human boy with brown hair and small cuts on his face, a girl with cream-colored hair, she had cute little ears and tail, and an elf child with golden hair. Their clothes were all old and ragged. Is there something on my face? The kids ran away squealing. Did I scare them? Whatever. I have the problem called Milam right now. I put my mask back on and entered the tavern. Veldora noticed me as I came in. Kuahahaha. Rimuru. I was telling them just how you nearly cried when you asked if we could be friends. Well, there he goes spouting some random nonsense again, but right now we don't have any time to have a fight with him right now. We don't have time for that. We've got problems. What kind of a problem? Is there something? Belle asked. I could see both Seer and Belle was worried. Kuahahaha. If it's you, surely you can deal with it, right? Veldora firmly. Unlike both Seer and Belle, he was very calm and had an easy expression on his face. I may need your help, come with me. I'll explain it on the way. I then turned towards Belle and Seer. Thank you for everything until now. You both have been very helpful. I apologize for parting so suddenly, however, as this is our problem, I cannot drag you into this. Belle seemed like he wanted to say something, but he stopped when Seer grabbed his shoulder and smiled at me. Then you should leave quickly. Make sure to come visit here again sometime, okay? I nodded at her and ran out of the tavern with Veldora in tow. So what is this huge problem that you'd need me for? I looked at him. Chloe told me that Milam is being lured in by a goddess. He looked at me. This is Milam we're talking about, isn't it? She would be fine. I can't believe you called me out for a simple matter like this. I was busy telling the kid my heroic exploits. Poor kid. I felt like I might have put him in a tough spot. Don't worry. We'll probably see him soon. He grinned at me. Yeah, I have never seen anything like it before. Oh. And what did you think about the tavern girl? For the first time I was a little surprised, so you noticed too. He puffed out his chest. Of course. I am in fact the storm dragon Veldora. You may have the advantage when it comes to analyzing with your skill but when it comes to identification my skill, Nyarlathotep, is superior. Is that really true? I asked Seal just in case. I am the one who upgraded his skill. How can he be superior to me? He is just spitting nonsense. Well, that's that. Something tells me that I shouldn't tell him about that, so I changed the subject. We will leave her alone for now. It's not like she's in our way, and she may have her own circumstances and reasons for hiding. It could be that she is hiding from someone, or maybe the authority is looking for her. Either we probably shouldn't get involved for now. We ran through the streets, and after a few minutes I could directly sense both Chloe and Milam from here. I stopped in my tracks, which made Veldora stop and turn around with a confused look on his face. Rimuru, aren't we going to save Milam? I can sense her and the hero kid from here, they must be close. When he tried to move, I stopped him. Chloe has the skill to mess with time. If she wanted to, she could stop time and take Milam. Why do you think she hasn't used it? Veldora start to think, is it because she's tired? No, you idiot. Something or someone sensed her power and she is trying to avoid showing her skills to the enemy. Why? Isn't it better to go bam, bam, and boom at the enemy and just get this over with? And here was I thinking he learned something after the Tenma War. No, first of all, Chloe is someone who listens to me, so she is avoiding gathering more attention right now, and second, she is my student and my students are not ones who just jump into a fight with assessing their opponent first. They are mature and they listen to what I say. Wait, that is a lie. Actually, apart from Kenya, all the others listen to what I say. I noticed Chloe on top of the building looking down at us, and she knows what she is doing. A few hours ago, third POV, after splitting from the group, Chloe started wandering aimlessly around the city of Orario. She had her black cloak on, with the hood covering her face. So she didn't stand out that much because people are wearing all kinds of cloaks here. What should she do? She thought to herself. She can't disappoint her sensei, so she'll have to do something amazing so that sensei will be impressed by her. She'll have to outdo Milam in this journey. As she was thinking to herself, she caught sight of an old woman pulling a cart. She could see the old lady was struggling, so she walked over to help. She was meant to be collecting information, but she can't overlook people who are in trouble. Would you like some help? The lady looked up directly into her eyes. From her eyes she could see the lady was very hesitant. I don't anything to pay you with, young lady, and someone like you doesn't need to be nice to an old hag like me. She smiled gently at her. I help someone who needs help not because it's a nice thing to do, but because it's the right thing, so please. The old lady looked at her with an amused look. Taking this chance, she took the handle and swiftly pulled it with ease. And if you can answer a few questions for me, I will take that as my payment. The soothing smile never leaving her face. The lady sighed and both of them started walk together, chatting as they did. So can you tell me, where are you taking this? The lady smiled at her. We are going to the guild quarters, young lady.
The guild. Yes, the guild. They are the people who manages Orario, so if I need supplies from outside the city I need to have their permission. Chloe nodded. So the guild is the ruling body of Orario. She should probably check for more information on this guild. I am surprised, however, that such a pretty lady can be so strong. Are you an adventurer by any chance? You've probably been blessed with a fauna then. The sudden comment from the old lady brought her back to the real world. She smiled wryly at the comment. No, you are flattering me. I am not that pretty. She politely brushed off the compliment. She just heard many curious words that she was about to ask more on, but when she looked at the lady, she noticed that the lady had been staring at her with adoring eyes. She didn't hate it yet, she could feel something was off. Is there something wrong, ma'am? The old lady turned her gaze to the sky, a small sad smile crossed her face. No, it's just that you are the same age as my daughter. Yet you seem to be from a noble family, but it doesn't stop you from helping others. You even took my dirty cart all this way. You are thinking too highly of me. It's just that I had someone to help me when I was in trouble, and I won't be the same person to someone as they were to me, she said in meek tone. The lady laughed at her. Well, aren't those mature words from such a young person? You may be just a few years younger than my daughter, but you are 100 times more mature than her. Is she really that immature? You bet she is. She won't wake up in the morning, she does not do her chores, and she doesn't help us with the store. There is nothing ladylike to that child. Whenever she opens her mouth, it's all about how she'll be a powerful adventurer and the guardians of justice like the Asteria familia. You are being too harsh. I am sure if you asked in the right way, she will help you. That would be equal to a miracle. Both of them continued on their way, chatting happily. While most of it was the lady speaking about her daughter's unladylike attitudes, Chloe shared a few stories of her time with her friends and sensei until they reached a huge building. The lady gestured at the building. This is the guild building. Thank you for pulling the cart all this way. I can take it from here, young lady. Chloe handed over the handle to lady. I don't mind at all. I was also planning to go somewhere, and this guild might be the right place. The old lady smiled at her. As that's so, well then I'll be going. Have a safe trip. I hope to meet your daughter one day. Chloe smiled as the old lady didn't say anything as they parted ways. Chloe entered the building. There were all kinds of people here. She looked around the interior of the guild. There were obviously several adventurers present here, and there were people with black and white uniforms. They must be guild workers, she thought. If she could find guild master's room, she might be able to find something useful. She stood there for a few minutes looking around. Then she saw a young lady across the room carrying a mountain of books and papers in her arms. The young lady slowly approached the desk near her, but what seemed to be a stroke of misfortune, her foot tripped on a nail sticking from the floorboards. She was going to fall. Chloe moved without thinking. She used her ultimate skill Yog Sothoth Horts to stop time for few seconds and walked up to the falling lady holding out her hands to keep the books and papers from falling. Then she deactivated the skill. Eek! The young girl let out a squeal, closing her eyes as she waited to fall down, but after a moment she slowly opened her eyes because of the absence of pain. Are you okay? Chloe asked the girl in her arms. She was looking into her eyes without thinking anything was wrong while the girl's face was beet red. Why, you're pretty. The girl replied. It was only then Chloe noticed the hood had fallen from her head, revealing her face. And she was getting stares all around from everyone in the room. If you are okay, you can let go of me, Chloe said in a polite tone. The girl had rose-colored hair with matching eyes. She let go of her, her face still flushed as she bowed. Thank you for helping me. I don't know what I'd do if I had to put all these papers in order again from the start. Chloe smiled at her. She took the top half of books and papers and placed the first half near the bottom half. Putting it higher will make it easier to fall. Placing it as two halves is a safer way. The girl nodded her head vigorously. She was about to leave the girl when she saw a elf employee wearing same uniform approaching them. Misha, are you all right? The elf with brown hair asked. Her hair was short and she had glasses on her face. Behind the glasses were green eyes. Aina, I'm all right, she saved me in nick of the time. Misha greeted her friend back. Aina turned to Chloe and bowed her head. Thank you for saving her. Is there something we can do for you today? Chloe waved her hand. I was just doing what anyone else would do. This elf lady seemed to be nice. She cared for her coworkers and Chloe saw her at the front counter. She might be able to help her. Can I ask for a favor? Aina looked at her. What can I do for you? I am new to the city and I'd like to get information about the city. Do you know if there is a guidebook or something I can get? The one called Misha quickly perked her head up. Are you going to be an adventurer? I haven't thought about that. I'd first like to know more about the city before I choose what to do. Please leave that to me, miss. As Aina said this, there was glint of happiness in her eyes. Chloe Aubert. Miss Chloe. Please wait in the room behind that door. She pointed at a door behind the reception counter, a room for adventurers perhaps. I will get the books for you. No, wait, wouldn't that take your time? You don't need to trouble yourself with that. Aina waved her hand. No. I'm actually happy to help. The adventurer I am appointed to has taken leave for the day and I have free time, and it's not every day that I see a person wanting to learn something. Honestly, most of the people here want to jump into action before even thinking. Chloe bowed her head in gratitude. She could sense that Aina was sincerely trying to help her, so she decided to accept her help at face value. Thank you. It would be easy to collect information this way. She walked to the room Aina was pointing at. She opened the door and gave a quick scan of the room. The room was clean with a table and 2 chairs on either side. She removed the hood and sat on the chair waiting for Aina to come. She noticed that there was a noise-canceling barrier here. She took off her cloak and put it down, freeing her ponytail. Then door opened with a familiar click and Aina stepped in with a handful of books, but when their eyes met she momentarily froze as she started to stare at her. Is something wrong? No. It's nothing. Aina seemed to break out of the trance she was in. She walked to the table and put the books down. I was momentarily taken aback by how beautiful you are, miss. You are not so bad yourself. And I am under your care, so you don't need to call me miss anymore, just call me Chloe. Aina sat in the chair opposite to Chloe and took a deep breath. Thank you. I don't know what you are exactly looking for, so I brought all kind of books, and you said you don't know too much about the city, so I added a few other books too. Quote. Thank you. Then please excuse me. I will be at the counter out front if you have any doubts, or you can just call Misha. She seems very smitten with you. Aina gave a warm smile and excused herself from the room. Chloe increased her thought process while going through the books. City of Orario. Dungeon and the Guild. The first book was of the city Orario's infrastructure and its importance in the world. She put the book down and picked up the next, then the next and the next. Committing all the important stuff to memory, after a while she closed the final book and got ready to leave. At first, she thought about saying bye to Aina and Misha but decided against it. They would probably be skeptical if she said that she had read all the books, so she sneakily stepped out of the guild with her hood on. As she walked, Chloe thought about what she should do next. However, she got the feeling that she was being followed. She tried different ways and different routes to shake off her tailor, yet they were very persistent. She decided to beeline for the market, hoping to lose them in the crowd. In the meantime, she started thinking about when they started tailing her. Was it from the gate? No, she would sensed it along with the others. Was it with the cart lady? No, it must have begun after the guild. Then the realization hit her. Someone must have seen her use her skill at the guild. How could she have been so careless? So the tailor must have seen her using her power. But that's impossible. Time was stopped so no one would be able to know what happened. And if there was someone who knew what happened, then she could not take them lightly. She then saw a group had gathered in the market where there seemed to be something going on. She could use this to escape. She went through the crowd and then turned into a side alley as she felt her follower closing in. She sensed her stalker lose sight of her and she didn't let the chance pass. She jumped up to a roof of a building which allowed Chloe to see who her stalker is when he stumbled into the alley. Down below, she saw a young handsome man with brown hair, wearing a black dress and had white cloak. He was looking around for her. She could not see any abnormal traits from him yet, so she couldn't underestimate him if he is someone who saw the world where time stopped. She jumped down and landed in front of the guy. Who are you? And why are you following me? Chloe asked her follower. But the guy unexpectedly grinned at her. I will explain thoroughly, young lady. Before that, can I get your name? Chloe was confused. Something about this guy pisses her off. It's probably because of that smile on his face. It's like he's taking her lightly.
I asked the question first. The guy laughed. It seems you are not fan of long talks, are. The grin on his face and the words died as he felt killing intent from the lady in front him. His level 3 instinct kicked in and he jumped a few steps back. He couldn't believe this petite and delicate girl in front of him was giving so much intent that it was almost tangible. He gulped. The next time I have to ask, there's going to be a dead body. The venomous tone of the girl's voice gave him chills down to his very soul. He started to sweat profusely. Wait. I am here to ask you to join the Apollo familia. Apollo familia? He could feel the killing intent disappear and took a breath of relief. Yes, my name is Hyakinthos Cleo. I am the leader of the Apollo familia led by the great god Apollo.
I don't want to. Chloe brutally cut Hyakinthos short. If you don't have anything else to say, I'll be taking my leave. Hyakinthos was confused. The Apollo familia was a prominent familia in Orario. Why not? Is it because you have another familia? If there's some small fry, I will crush them for you, so, please recons. I am leaving. Have a nice day. Chloe started to walk away. She was tired. Her heart hasn't stopped beating from thinking about what Sensei would say if she's created a big issue. Knowing him, he would certainly say that it is okay, but she doesn't want it like that. She doesn't want him to be disappointed in her. No, wait please. Hyakinthos called out to her. Chloe wasn't listening to what he was saying, nor was she interested. I saw you at the guild. That stopped her in her tracks. She turned towards Hyakinthos. Did he really see her using her skill? What should she do if he saw her? You're very fast. Probably more so than the infamous Sword Princess. I am giving you a place where you can unlock your full potential. You could easily exceed the Sword Princess and be famous all around the world if you joined our familia. So, I ask you once more to join the Apollo familia. Chloe sighed in relief. So this guy doesn't know what happened after all. My answer is still no. Hyakinthos sighed. Okay, but could you at least tell me your name? Chloe looked at Hyakinthos. Chloe, I'll be taking my leave now. Then she walked out of the side street and blending in with the crowd. Hyakinthos just stood there watching the retreating figure of the girl who turned him down. A woman with red curly hair stepped up from behind him. She had emerald eyes and milky white skin. What's gotten into you suddenly? I got that she's an interesting person, but. Hyakinthos looked at his companion. Her name was Amelia Alok. She was the strongest spellcaster in Apollo Familia before Cassandra. She left the Familia for some reason even unknown to him. But what surprised him was that Apollo allowed her to leave in the first place. From that day she's been wandering the world. She returned to Orario a few days ago and asked Hyakinthos to meet her in the guild. What do you mean? What's gotten into me suddenly? He retorted. You were practically begging her to join the Familia. The Hyakinthos I know is not like that. He huffed his chest. I was always like this. And begging is a huge understatement. There's a lot more to her skill than what I first thought, judging by her reaction. I merely wanted her as pawn for Lord Apollo. And girls like her like guys who play nice, so I thought I'd give it a shot. As that's so, well, if what he said is true, then that is what the Hyakinthos she knew would do. Well, I was supposed to leave Orario today, but seeing that girl I think I'll change my mind. I may visit our old home even. What do you make of her? Hyakinthos asked Amelia. He knew she also saw what he saw. She shrugged. I don't know. I also don't clearly understand what she did. But I don't think it's speed, that was just too fast to be merely speed. I think her ability is something more powerful. She licked her lips, and I am attracted towards powerful people. Chloe walked through the crowded street. She couldn't feel someone watching her anymore. She should talk about the offer from that Hyakinthos guy with Sensei. But still for a moment she was afraid that she failed her task. Well, Hyakinthos might know she did something but he doesn't know what she did. She might have gathered more attention than intended, so she'll have to be careful from now on. Now that's out of the way, I wonder what that commotion is about. Looking at the crowd Chloe used to lose that Hyakinthos guy, she decided to go check it out. As she drew closer, she tried peering into the crowd to see what everyone's attention has. Suddenly she saw a flash of pink and a city guard came flying out from the center. Chloe suddenly got a bad feeling in her stomach. At the guild, third POV. Below the guild situated the prayer room. This room is where the god Oranos offers prayers to the dungeon. He is one of the few gods whom after reaching lower world didn't go search for fun. He always stayed in this room keeping monsters at bay with his divine power. Oranos looked at the shadow figure approaching him from atop his chair. So you pulled out Fells. The god's strong voice echoed through the sacred halls. The shadow bowed once. Well, it was just as you said, she was luring me into a trap. But when did you figure out that it was a trap? The shadow's voice was strange, and one could not identify if it was the voice of a female or male. Well, she did not use that power again, correct? Instead, she was dragging you all around the place. The god answered. Maybe there is a limit to how many times she can use it. Oranos nodded at the thought. That may be true, but if it is a precious skill, then why use it on such a simple thing? That means she has not reached her limit yet. Fells looked at the old god. If what you're saying is true, then there is someone who can mess with time more than once. Wouldn't that make her a dangerous existence to Orario? Oranos closed his eyes. Power does not decide if a person is good or bad. Fells. How a person uses said power makes them good or bad. For now, let's keep a watch on her from a distance. And the Apollo familia. They seem to be after this girl, it seems. Oranos leaned back in his seat. Yes, but as I said, let's watch the play that's going on for now. It is up to Apollo what his fate will be. Taking a few moments looking at Shadow, he continued, it seems like a storm is brewing. Fells, a storm which we may not be able to stop on our own, so we might need to hold every hand that is lent towards us. Or we just might be devoured by this